Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Quiva and I'll be the webinar admin today. Before we get started, I'll quickly go over some housekeeping items. Firstly, we'll be following up with everyone after the presentation with a recording of the webinar. At any time during the presentation, you'll be able to post your questions in the Q&A tab. These questions will be answered at the end during our Q&A session. However, if we're not able to answer everyone's questions due to time constraints, we'll make sure to follow up with you individually. And now, to kick things off, I'd like to introduce you to David McLaren, our founder and CEO, and Jean Lozano, our CTO. David and Jean have worked together for over 13 years, spanning 2 companies. In early 2010, David asked Jean to find a system to manage over 40 terabytes of raw and finished photos, videos, and virtual tours for 15,000 hospitality customers located throughout 122 countries. What they thought would initially be a simple research and license endeavor has now consumed 10 years of their lives and helped hundreds of organizations around the world. Launching the first 100% cloud-based enterprise-class digital asset management system was no small feat, and David and Jean have the battle scars and war stories to prove it. We're extremely happy to have David and Jean here today, as it's very rare that their schedules align to allow for a session like this. Before I hand you over to the guys, I'd like to quickly go over the agenda. First, David will be answering the question, what is it about digital asset management that makes it the foundation of your MarTech stack? Then, Jean is going to take you through some of the technical considerations when optimizing your DAM to scale. Lastly, David will round out the presentation with some critical vendor considerations that will drastically impact your ability to scale. David, over to you.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here today. I'm really excited to tackle this topic and to do so with Jean.
I'm just as excited as you, David. It's been way too long since you and I have done one of these.
I couldn't agree more, Jean. Well, all right. As we all know, digital asset management has been a hot topic of conversation for many years now. So much so that according to TechPro research, pre-COVID, over 70% of organizations were already undergoing some form of digital transformation. And since March, pretty well every organization around the world has been forced to support a work from anywhere digital workplace, at least for some, if not all of their staff. This mass overnight movement to supporting people working from home was the impetus for this webinar. As a critical component of digital transformation is the technology that needs to be put in place beforehand to enable it, support it, and ensure it's successful. So today, Jean and I thought it would be timely to talk about the role that digital asset management, or DAM for many, systems play in digital transformation and how organizations can prepare for what lays ahead in the months and years to come. Whether you're batting down the hatches today or growing like bank gangbusters, we want you to be well prepared for the future as your business continues to change and grow over time. Jean, you good? Should I dive right in?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right, here we go. Today, we're going to focus primarily on marketing stacks, and that's where DAM systems have the biggest impact during the first phase or 2 of digital transformations and scaling your businesses. No matter where you are in your own digital transformation, know that at the center of all modern or post-transformation marketing stacks is a digital management system. When interviewed, 79% of marketing leaders in Gartner's 2018 Marketing Technology Survey stated they have either fully deployed or were in the process of deploying a DAM solution. What's become clear over the past few months, let alone pre-COVID, is that digital asset management is no longer an option. It's become a critical component of the technical foundation that supports and enables all successful and highly productive marketing and creative teams, and all the departments, divisions, vendors, partners, and distributors that they interact with and support on a daily basis.
I couldn't agree more, David. I do want to say that this is especially true in today's dispersed team environment. Since March, the conversations that I've been having with organizations have changed dramatically. It's no longer about solving one or two specific pain points. It's now all about accessibility, security, and the productivity of entire organizations, all directly affected by the organization's marketing technology stacks. DAM has traditionally solved marketing use cases, but we're now seeing DAM and the rest of the MarTech stack as what we call organizational enablers as well. Brand assets and various types of corporate media assets enable all members of an organization and even the extended organization to be more productive.
I've experienced the same in my college, John. The tone and purpose of conversations had definitely changed over the past 5 months. There's more urgency and a much broader focus today than ever before. And I'm finding this across all industries and geographies. So let's start with the ultimate goal of DAM, the setup that's going to drive the highest level of productivity, return on investment, and revenue growth. A DAM should house and protect all your corporate assets, from the idea stage all the way through to archival. And in between, dynamically feed final approved assets to all individuals, departments, systems, and third parties that need them exactly when they need them. I always find it strange that organizations will spend an inordinate amount of time selecting and implementing a CMS, a CRM, even a PIM, but at the same time have a multitude of unsecure, non-redundant, and in many cases, completely inaccessible silos and big ones of digital assets and content throughout their organizations. This is not only highly inefficient for an organization, but it directly increases the chance of asset loss, misuse, or complete lack of use, and as a result, increases costs and the chance of litigation and limits revenue growth. To ensure the success of your digital transformation and enable your business to scale as fast, as efficiently, and as cost effectively as possible, it's critical to identify all your asset silos and aggregate them into a central system. When implemented well, a DAM will manage, control, and protect all your assets, from source and WIP all the way to high value final approved assets, as well as all the data associated with them. This is the ultimate goal, the ideal. But do know that although many are striving towards this, few have achieved it so far. This will, however, change soon and will become a significant competitive advantage for those that can and do achieve it. Before we move on from this point, I want everyone to think about where your assets are today. Those creative, marketing, sales, and product assets your organization has spent hours, days, weeks, even months creating or having created by your agencies. Where are they? Where are the originals? Are they on hard drives, flash drives, personal or team Dropbox accounts? Are they held by your ad agencies, photographers, videographers, or simply in your designer's desktop? These are only a few of the common locations that we hear about frequently, and none of them are good when we consider those assets are your intellectual property, and they were very expensive to create. You should know where those assets are at all times. Be confident they're secure and backed up, and be able to access them immediately when needed. And not just you, your entire team and ecosystem. I would wager that for each of you on the call today, there's at least a few asset silos holding important assets that you're not aware of. And only one person has access to one or more of those silos. Unfortunately, everyone we work with, this is always the case, and many times they find out about them too late. Now, this is just talking about where your assets are held. Once they are all in a central location, how they're accessed and the control of that access is just as, if not more, important. Connecting your DAM to all the systems, departments, and individuals that need them is critical to ensure your organization can effectively scale and support the new work from anywhere digital workplace that's being thrust upon all of us. And to do so at maximum efficiency, security, and redundancy. As an example, this is how we see our customers today connecting with other systems within their MarTech stacks to their DAM throughout the asset lifecycle, again, from ideation all the way through creation, distribution, and archival. As you can see, in our case, we take a best of breed approach. This enables our customers to select the best solution to address their specific use cases in each vertical. Now, this doesn't work for everyone. It's just how we approach digital asset management, media asset management, creative asset management, and enterprise video content management. And for those that like acronyms, DAM, MAM, DAM, and CAM, and EVCM. All right. From a MarTech stack perspective, for one of our customers, it would look something like this. As you can see, the DAM system is at the bottom as it feeds digital assets and final content to all systems that use content. This approach ensures that all systems are using the latest approved versions of all content and enables you to easily update and track that content at all times. We actually look at the world a little bit more like this. We believe your DAM should connect not only with every system that uses your content, but also with every individual and entity throughout your entire ecosystem, both internally and externally, that uses your content to propel your organization forward. So how can you achieve this? Generally speaking, we suggest evaluating DAM systems from two perspectives: their architecture and technical capabilities, and the go-to-market approach of the vendor behind the systems. Jean, do you want to jump in here?
Sounds good, David. Thanks. First, we're going to take you through some of the technical capabilities to look for in your DAM to optimize scalability. The technology around us is constantly changing, with organizations continually adapting to new regulations such as GDPR and some other data privacy acts that are coming into play. Upcoming trends such as the increasing demand for 4K video content and advancing capabilities like artificial intelligence. Often, organizations will select a DAM without considerations for the future, and then quickly find out they outgrown the DAM within a couple of years. Unfortunately, some even outgrow it in a matter of months. So they need to upgrade sooner than expected. A DAM has to continuously evolve as the technology and the environment evolves. So when looking at the DAM, you need to ask yourself if the technical capabilities of the vendor are there to continually scale, pivot, and adapt in order to deliver what you need to scale, pivot, and adapt your business. Ask about what the workload of the largest customers are so that you are confident that the DAM will be able to handle your workload as well when you grow. Look at the type of thought leadership that is coming from the vendor. Are they implementing new technology haphazardly? Or do they come up with an implementation framework and define best practices in adopting new technology? Your high-value assets are mission critical, and as such, need to be protected. With this in mind, security, privacy, redundancy, and accessibility can't be an afterthought in your DAM. Think about this. The storage subsystem of the DAM is the cornerstone of the DAM. You need to make sure that the DAM runs on what we call a storage fabric that is infinitely scalable. We're not talking about hard drives here anymore. This means that you or the vendor do not have to worry about running out of space no matter how much storage you or their other customers consume. In addition to this, you need to have the confidence that if a file gets corrupt, you have a locally redundant file system that will self-heal the corrupted file. And if by any chance the entire data center where the file system lives goes down, you should be protected by geo-replication. Other factors to consider with regards to data, to storage or data residency, industry, and regional compliance requirements. For example, in highly regulated industries like finance or even government institutions, data needs to reside within the country. So when you geo-replicate the data, both the primary and the backup data centers need to reside within the same country. When it comes down to security, you need to make sure that you have the compliance and security features needed to keep your assets covered now and in the future. Encryption at rest has become an industry standard security feature. However, do not assume that all vendors follow this. You need to do your own due diligence and verify that the DAM encrypts the assets in cloud storage. Even more important is looking at the vendor's overall approach to privacy. Do they significantly invest into it? Only 4 short years ago, GDPR wasn't even on the map. Now, it's a requirement for any organization operating in Europe or that has users based in Europe. Privacy requirements are continually becoming more stringent.
Hey, John, do you mind if I jump in quickly?
No, not at all.
Thanks. So it's not just GDPR on the privacy side that we all have to be concerned about now. Over the past year, I've spent a ton of time with legal dealing with new legislation coming out of Canada and California. Today, the government bodies of these 3 regions are dictating global privacy requirements, more so than we've ever seen.
Thanks, David. On the other side of the coin is also accessibility. When organizations have security requirements, their solution is often to go for an on-premise DAM, keeping their assets in their own soil, even in their own building. This, however, can cause significant accessibility challenges. When organizations aren't storing their assets in the cloud, it significantly reduces the use cases and potential users of a DAM. It can also expose them to a fair bit of risk. Take COVID, for example. It was a completely unexpected event that suddenly sent everyone into a work from home environment. Those that were in the cloud were able to make the transition relatively quickly. On-premise organizations, however, struggled to connect to their DAM via VPNs and other remote servers. Having your assets both secure and accessible in the cloud will set you up to scale in the long term, regardless of the circumstances. Another consideration for scalability is platform compatibility. That is, how well the platform fits into your overall information technology and marketing technology strategy. For example, for those organizations using Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, Active Directory, etc., Microsoft Azure would be a great fit as it aligns with your Microsoft strategy. When your DAM platform is aligned with your overall tech strategy, scalability concerns that have been previously addressed by the IT team are also carried over into the DAM. If you're the DAM admin, imagine trying to manage 10,000 users in your DAM by yourself. But since your IT team is already managing all these users in Active Directory and making sure that roles and claims and all the security and governance policies are in place, you can easily scale the reach of the DAM to all users within your organization as needed in a matter of minutes. Once you have deployed the DAM at scale to all users in your organization, adoption becomes your next concern. Users work with productivity software like Word or PowerPoint or even Teams or Slack all the time. So instead of having them learn and use yet another piece of software, the best way to enable them with your brand assets and corporate media assets would be to surface all of these assets within the apps they use day to day in the form of an integrated DAM plugin. At surface value, one of the key benefits of a DAM is the search capabilities it offers. Specifically, the additional metadata that organizations can take advantage of, like keywords, attributes, advanced search filters, etc. The challenge that encroaches when organizations try to scale is the way that organizations keyword a few assets can't be done in the same way for thousands or even millions of assets. Oftentimes, there are just too many assets to justify manually tagging one by one. If left to their own devices, this can lead to lazily tagged or even untagged assets that just get lost in the DAM. One of the first and most clear solutions to this is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence capabilities can range depending on your use cases or ability to develop AI models. If you're looking for a quick solution, out-of-the-box packages are available, offering auto tags for common object, color, text, and more. If you're able to undertake a larger AI project and need tags more specific to your business, you can also train your own AI models to recognize logos, objects, people, and more, as well as transcribe and translate videos. The opportunities are really endless with custom AI.
Hey, Jean, you okay if I just make another quick point?
Sure.
While artificial intelligence is one element of scaling metadata, it often doesn't solve all keywording scalability issues, either because it doesn't provide valuable metadata, decreasing the discoverability of your assets, or custom AI is simply too much of an undertaking. This is why cascading categories and multi-referencing are important elements a scalable long-term DAM strategy requires. With cascading categories, each category title, sub, or parent associated with any given asset is viewed by the DAM as a keyword and part of a cascading keyword chain that associates it with all categories above it. For example, if an asset is categorized in a category titled Seattle, under a cascading structure that includes above it Washington and United States, the DAM will automatically add the keywords Seattle, Washington, and United States to the asset. If this feature is available with a well-designed category structure, organizations can quickly set up and scale their DAM, both initially and over time. With this in mind, it's important to understand the limitations, if any, of a DAM regarding categories and multi-referencing. And multi-referencing is simply, it's just the ability to place assets in multiple categories without duplicating the assets or increasing the required storage related to them. Sorry, Jean, back to you.
All good, all good. Great point, David. There's another critical component to scaling, the limitation around the number of users and groups you can have, as well as the permissions available for each of those groups. It just comes down to math. The more people, departments, and partners that can get value out of the single system, your single DAM system, the faster you can scale. Where organizations can run into trouble with their DAM is that there are often limitations in place, either with user or group caps, or the price per user, that make it near impossible to make your DAM accessible to everyone that needs access to allow your organization to scale without any asset-related impediments. It's important to choose a DAM that offers unlimited users and user groups, so that you can add as many as your business needs, including administrators. When organizations can set custom permissions for each group, including setting capabilities, whether they can download, upload, etc., and category access, essentially what they can do is create custom libraries for each department and partner, while at the corporate level, maintaining a complete view of all the assets and their usage across your entire organization. With an unlimited user model, organizations can seamlessly and securely scale their DAM well into the future. Many organizations will choose a DAM based on out-of-the-box integrations. Totally fine. But in addition, it can be critical to ensure that the vendor has a clean, easy-to-use API. One integration today can quickly become 10 tomorrow. Only in very rare circumstances will one single vendor offer integrations into your entire tech stack, and they won't be built with your workflows in mind. Even if you don't use or need it right away, having the ability to build integrations internally and connect them into your DAM via the API ensures you're never reliant on the vendor to achieve your business goals. Every organization is unique. So every organization's requirements are also unique. The common denominator is that every organization wants to have a central source of truth, a DAM, for all their content-dependent applications. For simple extensibility requirements, such as surfacing the assets in Office 365, it's very likely that an out-of-the-box integration will work. But if you're trying to integrate systems such as a CRM or a marketing automation system, these systems have their own configurable workflows. So it means that these workflows will differ from one implementation to another, and they may even use DAM functionality that other companies may not even consider using. So, two key questions to evaluate a DAM's integration capabilities are, number one, does every functionality within the DAM portal that you see as a user have a corresponding API endpoint? This means that somebody can just build an app to do whatever a user can do on the portal programmatically by just calling the API. That's what automation is all about. You'll be surprised that not every DAM has a comprehensive API. Unfortunately, some dev teams create an API after they have created the product. So the API becomes an afterthought, hence incomplete. So be very careful about this. The second one is that does the DAM allow a third-party application to subscribe to events in the library? If an asset gets uploaded, or if an asset was moved from one category to another, will the DAM be able to notify your product information management system or your content management system via a webhook or a similar triggering mechanism? This is very important because not all integrations just call APIs. Some integrations need to be notified of events happening in the DAM before they can take the necessary action. Performance factors in the DAM relevant to scalability boil down to two activities: ingesting, getting your assets in, and querying, searching or retrieving your assets. Scaling a DAM in terms of volume and storage footprint can be measured by its ability to ingest. Ingestion not only means uploading, but it also includes the generation of asset previews, extraction of metadata, cataloging of attributes, and indexing for browsing and search. The ingestion process is triggered once an asset is uploaded to the DAM. So the first question you should ask is, what are the ingress rates of my DAM? The best practice here is to actually expose the cloud provider's storage endpoint in a very secure manner to the client so that there is a direct connection between the user and the cloud storage provider. Cloud storage accounts should be able to handle up to 5 gigabits per second for a geo-redundant solution and 10 gigabits per second for a non-geo-redundant solution. More than you'll ever need right now, right? But for your peace of mind, having geo redundancy is the best option. Then once the asset is in the DAM provider storage, the next question that you should be asking is, how many processing engines are available to create renditions, extract metadata, and perform all the asset ingestion related tasks, including AI services? Well, physics is physics, right? So given the same number of compute engines and the same type of asset, you will get the work done in the same amount of time, no matter which DAM provider you choose. So the important question is, how many of these compute engines can you get the DAM provider to provision for you? Not only during the onboarding phase, but after as well, right? When you're operating the DAM regularly. You should not get a theoretical answer here, but instead ask for details of an example workload of a large customer for that DAM and how many processors were used simultaneously. If you have a large workload, then the DAM provider should be able to scale to hundreds of processors to get your assets ingested in a timely manner if you need to ingest quickly. In fact, a good DAM provider should be able to profile your workload and provide you with an estimate for the ingestion timeline. Then, once these assets are fully ingested, the other concern relating to scalability is query performance, how fast you can retrieve the assets. So if you have a DAM with 5,000 assets, are you going to get roughly the same asset search query time when you grow to 5 million assets? They should be roughly the same. That's what scalability means. Again, don't accept the theoretical answer here. For an example workload of a customer with 5 million original assets and what the response times are. The response time should not vary much from what you're currently seeing in your DAM.
So to Jean's high-level message here, what works today will definitely change in the coming years. In what way? None of us know. But choosing a vendor that aligns with your culture and approach to business is a solid bet that I'd make every single time. To scale and grow your business effectively, you need to step outside your business, step away from the day-to-day, and look in. If you're knee-deep in your business today, or for some, neck-deep, it's very hard to see the things you need to do to improve and accelerate your business. Unfortunately, Jean and I have learned this the hard way, way more times than we'd like to admit. A good vendor will not only provide the software support and best practices needed to help you and your team be more productive, they'll also listen to your team, include their feedback in their feature roadmap, and be continually improving their software to enable and support your business as it grows over time. As we all know, for good and for bad, software is always changing as it struggles to keep up with our wants and needs. A good vendor should feel like a partner in your business. It's their job to be an expert in the area of your business and to be one or more steps ahead of you at all times. So what does a good vendor look like? I look for three main things. Number one, they involve their customers in determining their product roadmap. Number two, they invest in the success of your business. And three, their product strategy aligns with your IT strategy. Okay, number one, every software vendor is continually updating their products. Some, usually more traditional vendors, legacy vendors, once a year. Others, usually cloud vendors like us, 2 to 5 times a week. As a customer, it's important to make sure you have a spot at the table to give feedback and opinions on your vendor's product roadmaps to help align them with your own growth strategy. If you don't have such a seat, you're missing a huge opportunity to help align the software you're using with the changing and ongoing needs of your business. Don't worry about the time requirement, as that depends entirely on how much you want to be involved. It can be weekly, monthly, quarterly, even annually. via email, web calls, or in person. The important part is to ensure you have the opportunity to convey the features that are important to you, and more specifically, how they'll help your business. This last part is key. Sharing specific use cases and pain points with vendors will help them determine how solving your issues will do the same for other customers. The more customers a solution will help, the faster it will be developed. When doing reference checks, be sure to ask how well vendors listen and how quickly they act. Number 2, ensuring a vendor is invested in your success. We always emphasize that a vendor should be a solution, not a platform provider, meaning a vendor should be offering creative solutions to your problems, not just a static set of features. Offering solutions means a vendor needs to actively listen to your challenges and understand your business, and will be more likely to provide ongoing support and training to ensure your long-term success. And lastly, number 3, look for a vendor whose product strategy aligns with your IT strategy. For example, in our world, there are generally 2 types of DAM vendors. There are those that are one-stop shops. They want to deliver a family of products like workflow, product information management, content and brand management, production services, etc. This focus is great for organizations that want to work with a single vendor and don't want to go really deep with any one single product. On the other hand, there are those DAM vendors that are focused on delivering a best-of-breed solution, where all their effort and resources go into producing a single product with extremely deep capabilities. The best-of-breed approach is a more scalable and flexible approach, as every component of your tech stack can easily be replaced and upgraded at any time. So in short, a scalable marketing technology stack truly does start with a solid DAM foundation. However, your ability to scale and the long-term success of your business, from Jean and I's experience, is more correlated to the vendor that you choose than the software itself. Jean, did we miss anything? Or should we jump right into Q&A now?
Well, we'll definitely know once we start the Q&A.
fair enough. Cueva, over to you.
Brilliant, thanks, David. So to kick things off with our first question, David, I think this one is for you. Which technologies would you prioritize connecting with first?
I think the first for me would be workflow, and then your CMS. Those 2 we see in the majority of partners and customers that we work with. Those would be the first 2 priorities. And then following that gets really specific in the individual companies.
Awesome, thank you. A second one here. How can I ensure that my assets are secure in a cloud DAM?
Oh, I'll take that one, Cueva. That's a good one. So not just in any cloud DAM, right? But with any software as a service, like being a CTO, I would look at 3 things, right? I would look at 3 Ps. I would consider them to be platform, product, and practices, right? So when I talk about the platform, like the software as a service product will have to live on a cloud platform. What is that cloud platform, right? So most cloud platforms already have pretty good security measures, right? So the question that you need to ask is a DAM provider taking advantage of all the security features? For example, the cloud storage provider that the DAM probably uses encryption at rest, but is a DAM provider taking full advantage of it? Most cloud providers also offer TLS encryption for data communication internally and externally going to the customer. It is easy to check to make sure that you have, as a user, TLS on your browser when connecting to the DAM. But how do you know that once that connection is received by the DAM, all the communications within the DAM are also encrypted? You know, and there's also a layer of protection nowadays called a web application firewall, or WAF, that shields a DAM cloud infrastructure from attacks like DDoS or cross-site scripting, right? So I would consider it to be best practice to have a WAF shielding the dam in order to protect all tenants of a dam. Lastly, the latest feature that I've seen of some cloud platforms is what they call threat intelligence. It uses artificial intelligence to detect threat patterns and provide mitigation and remediation information so a dam vendor can get notified of any potential threat and have the ability to mitigate the threat in a proactive manner, keeping your assets safe. Okay. The second P is the product. The product refers to the dam product itself. Well, three key things to remember here are authentication, authorization, and access control, right? So authentication confirms that you are who you say you are. Traditionally, this is done through usernames and passwords, but nowadays, as most of you probably have seen, multi-factor authentication, such as confirming the login on your device or being texted a confirmation code, is the norm. The current standard for authentication is called OpenID, but some organizations still use SAML. So if you need to determine if your office network or your business or company uses the OpenID protocol, or if you have the traditional SAML system. If you have traditional SAML, then you should confirm that the dam is backwards compatible to SAML. Authorization, the other A here, is the process of verifying that you have access to what you're trying to get to. When you try to access an asset or a folder, authorization rules on the dam product determines if it should grant you access to the resource or deny the request. The current standard for this is called OAuth 2, and this is the ideal protocol that I would personally look for if I'm a customer. Then access control is just the process of assigning permissions to users. You define who has access to what. And the third P is practices. Practices is like, it's a shared responsibility, right? Security is a shared responsibility. The dam vendor has the responsibility to make sure it follows the best InfoSec practices and procedures and policies, but the dam users also need to do their part and make sure they do not share passwords, ensure that their laptops and desktops have up-to-date antivirus software, and they should be security aware, right? So security awareness of the users is just as important. So there you go. 3 Ps to answer the security questions: platform, product, and practices, Quiva.
Awesome. Thanks for that, John. We have another one here. How do I get more involved in my vendor's product roadmap?
Oh, I can take that one. It's actually extremely easy. All you've got to do is contact the customer success team of your vendor and ask to be involved. They should then connect you with their product team, and then they'll outline kind of what they're thinking of from a product advisory team or just getting feedback from their customers. Most likely they'll have a program to get involved in. And then from there, it's just seeing how well it works with you.
Brilliant. Thanks, David. I think we have time for one more question. We have the one here. It says, how big of an undertaking is it for a company to train its own AI models in DAM?
Oh, AI, that's me. In the past, you will need to hire your own data scientists and developers who understand machine learning in order to implement your own AI models in the DAM or any system, right? So, but nowadays, some cloud providers offer what we call guided AI for computer vision. What it does is it allows you to upload several assets, label them with your business-specific labels, right? Depending on your use case, and train the model through a user-friendly interface. The model will then test itself on these and continually improve precision through a feedback loop as you add more assets. Once the model is ready, then you can use it to predict labels that you have trained the model on. So, the key point here is that no machine learning, data science, or development experience is required anymore, right? So all it needs is somebody who wants to do it, and a set of assets that can be used to train a model. Any DAM administrator should be able to create these machine learning models guided by a user-friendly user interface.
Awesome. Thanks for that, guys. Unfortunately, that concludes all of the time we have for questions today. If we haven't had a chance to answer your question yet, don't worry. We'll make sure to follow up with you shortly. Again, a big thanks to David and Jean. I really hope we get to do this again soon. To everyone listening, thank you for joining us. We really, truly appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone. Stay safe and healthy.
Thank you.